Today I'm bringing another update about Bible study. I managed to get a lot of work done last night along with recording this video and the voice for it. The floor and walls for level 1 are done, and now I just need to add the ceiling and then the other walls, like the walls in the prisoner cell and then the one across from it. And there's another wall that I need to add somewhere later on in the level. And unfortunately, I won't be working on the game tonight though. That's because I have work all day. And then I go to my Nana's house at around maybe 8 or 9 or something. This video is going to be uploaded automatically while I'm at work, though. Aside from that, I don't work on games in between Friday sundown and Saturday sundown anyway. It's because I believe that time is still the Sabbath. I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist, nor do I agree with some of their beliefs, but I do believe that the Sabbath day is still that time. Mostly because Jesus said that not even a dot or an iota of the law would change. And if you don't know what an iota is, it's basically the silent E at the end of a word in the Greek alphabet, just in simple terms. And if I am pronouncing that wrong, then please do let me know. I do plan to do a YouTube series about the law of God on either my personal channel, or I might create a channel for the ministry that I want to make one day and put those videos on that. There I will provide the verses for why I believe what I believe about the law of God, and yes, this will be taught in the level that I'm creating right now, since the first subject of the game is the 10 Commandments. As I said last night, the level will be explicitly on things that the Bible teaches. I also forgot to mention yesterday that the game won't be held back by my own personal feelings nor the personal feelings of anyone else. It'll teach only what the Bible teaches, and if I'm wrong, please do tell me that I'm wrong about something. A lot of people don't want to admit that they're wrong, but when it comes to the truth and knowledge, I hate being wrong. That's why I believe what I believe as deeply as I believe it. I am closed-minded in the sense that I won't let anyone stand between the Lord and I, but I am open-minded enough to be able to process facts and logic about the Bible to where if I'm told that I'm wrong and verses are shown to me that are used properly, I will change my view. People have tried to use verses to argue against either the Sabbath still being from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, or just that we don't have to keep the Sabbath anymore, either because we aren't bound by the law or because Jesus is our everlasting rest. But the verses they used weren't talking about that at all. The verse that I was told about the Sabbath day being changed was Acts 20 verse 7. But that verse just says nothing about the Sabbath. It only talks about being gathered for the breaking of bread on the first day. My question to that, though, is on the first day of what? It could either be the first day of the week or the first day when they arrived. It's probably the first day of the week, but if you read in Acts 2, it also says that they gathered for the breaking of bread every day in the streets and houses. I'll discuss what I mean by all this in the video, though. I've already drifted away from the point of this video. Without getting off topic any more than I just did, I'll be with my dad for the weekend, far from my computer, so I'll probably be able to continue working on the game on Monday after I get off of work. In the last video, I said that I wouldn't be using any other assets other than the ones that I make, or maybe textures that I get from a third-party website, but then I realized that I'll more than likely be using the rocks and boulders asset pack throughout a decent bit of this game. I only realized that as soon as I finished uploading the video, probably sometime before then. I know it's not much of a big deal, but I just wanted to make that clear. I'll also be using code from tutorials more than likely, so there's that as well. What I plan to do next is add more walls to places that need them, like what I mentioned earlier. Then I'd also like to add the ceilings. I also need to rework the player because what I did was just copy the script from the Battle of Idumea's player and removed a few things. And if you watch to the video in a normal pace somehow, you could probably only slow it down like by I guess half of what it is or something. I'm not sure. Then you would have seen that the camera was stuttery and the sprinting didn't work too well. It would make the player float for some reason. So in case you didn't notice later in this video, or in case you don't notice later in this video, I completely deleted the player and cleared out the scripts for him. I might work on the player some off camera, but we'll see. I can't show any footage of other people's videos on here, and I could probably have Firefox open on one of my other screens, but I don't want there to be a bunch of unnecessary places in the video that are just me sitting there with my mouse off screen and going back on screen to type a few words and symbols and then just go off again and come back, which probably wouldn't be noticeable since the video is going to be fast forwarded anyway. After I work on the player movement, I think I'm going to try to figure out how I want the questions to work. And if you have played Times Attack, then you know how they work. You walk up towards the door, the music changes, and some polymorphic figures drop out and they spawn some snails. And you walk up to the snails and you pick them up, and it'll say something like 2 or maybe 4. And then you throw them at the door and it'll go 2, 4, depending on how fast you throw them. And then you'll have to type in the answer on as quick as you can. I recommend using the number pad if you have one for that. But in my game, I don't want it to do that. No matter how much I like that system, I can't copy it. So I'll need to think of my own thing for that. So if you haven't noticed yet, there's not a page up for questions. That's because I haven't figured out how I want to do them, so I don't think I can come up with rules until I figure that out. And I'll more than likely add that page another time. Thankfully, this game has actual forums, unlike the page for Battle of Idumea. And forums make it much easier to post questions and answers and stuff like that. So when the question and answer system is set up, or at least the plans for it are laid out, I'll start working a little more on environmental things and props like torches, rock placements, any pots, tables, or anything like that. Something else you may or may not have noticed is that there are a lot of poorly placed and modeled torches in random places. The location will definitely be changed, and so will the models. If you don't like the way that I did the level as far as the texture placement goes, then I do apologize, but that's not really something that I think is very important, at least not yet. And partially it's because this takes place in a prison that was built pretty much just after the planet Galloway was created. And the people at that time really don't care too much about making everything super straight. And they didn't have the tools or necessary equipment for it either, which is pretty weird considering they were able to make an underground dungeon. But I don't think it matters a whole lot because a lot of people don't even really notice the texture when they're playing game unless they stand out so much, like the Great Hole outside of the first cell. Some of the places that don't loop will also be covered up by frames or walls, just to help get rid of some inconsistency. It also helps you show which room you're in, which is something that I didn't think of while I was trying to get all the textures lined up the right way. I think I'm going to work on the checkpoints as soon as I finish the walls and ceiling, so what I'll do for that is make an invisible plane that whenever you go through it, it deletes itself, and in the game manager, it'll set the spawn transform to the transform of the parent of that plane. So that way the game knows where to put you if you have to try a section again or respawn for whatever reason. I'm mostly saying this right now so that way I can look back at the video and remember what I said. And it also helps me remember a lot easier rather than just me typing it on a note file or whatever. It also might help some people who know less about making games than I do. So I'll probably do this kind of stuff in a future video as well if I make any more game design logs like this. I like to keep doing them because it helps you know what's going on, and I think it's fun even if my pretty much monotone voice doesn't show it. I am truthfully very excited about this game, and unfortunately I do have a harder time talking if anyone else is in the house with me. I don't know why I'm worried about it, but I'll just worry that they'll hear me, and I don't know why, but I just haven't ever really liked being heard live by my family for whatever reason. Whether it's me playing the guitar or the piano or me singing or growling. It is getting pretty late at this time though. I'm up at 1:49, which is almost 10 minutes more than what I thought I was going to be. And I would like to watch episode 4 of The Bad Batch before episode 5 comes out. since Disney, for whatever reason, doesn't release their shows in waves. They just release it at 12 Mountain Time, or whatever the time in California is. I think it's pretty dumb. They need to release it at 12, either 12 here, then 12, whatever is after Central, then 12 after Central, and then so on, rather than just waiting until 3 a.m. here. Because I like to stay up and watch the episodes, but I hate staying up until 3. I need to start getting sleep more. They could just start releasing it like every other company does, just to release things at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Easter Time for a reason. It brings everyone presents when something is released as soon as 12 a.m. EST hits. Aside from that, I should probably get off here. I hope you all have a blessed night and enjoy your pancakes.